where's she at?
I don't know where she
Where's
is.
her body at?
I don't know where she is.
She's dead, though. You know that?
This is Ashley MacArthur, a killer who, after years of serving the law, has found herself on the other side of it. And even when detectives discover her victim's body, Ashley is still convinced she's getting away with murder.
They used to always joke around and talk about, like, if they had to get rid of a body, they'd go to a hog farm or something.
Somebody harmed her, and she's probably out of that farm. I think something happened and you're trying to forget about it.
I don't know what happened here.
Taylor Wright has been down on her luck for quite some time. After a contentious divorce with her husband, Jeff, she had moved to Florida to start a new life for herself. In September of 2017, it seemed like she was finally getting where she needed to be. She was moving in with her girlfriend, Cassandra Waller. Working as a private investigator, she was taking on new clients and beginning to build a financial base to gain custody of her son back from her husband, who had a more stable job. But there was one pesky problem. During her contentious divorce, Taylor took money from her joint checking account with her soon-to-be ex-husband, hoping to keep it for herself. When the court stated it belonged to both of them, she decided that rather than give it back, she'd hide it. To do so, she gave $34,000 to her close friend, Ashley MacArthur, for safekeeping. The two trusted each other fully, so Taylor had no problem letting Ashley tuck it away into a bank account. On September 8, 2017, Taylor made plans to go with Ashley to pull the money from their joint account. After Ashley and Taylor left for the bank, Taylor's girlfriend, Cassandra, sat at home waiting, and waiting, and waiting. After hours of sending concerned calls and texts and getting no response, she received a text from Taylor that read, "I'll call you later. I'm not angry with you, and I should have called, but I just need to think. I'm trying to get my life organized and on track." Taylor wasn't always the most reliable partner, so at first, Cassandra was just mad. The next day, she was concerned. By the 10th, she had filed a missing persons report, and police had plenty of suspects to look at. As the last person to have seen Taylor, Ashley was the first to be brought into the interrogation room. From the get-go, she seems very willing to work with police, or at least very willing to tell parts of the story that make her look good.
Let's start with your relationship to Taylor.
She's friends.
Okay. And y'all met how long ago?
About a year ago.
How often did y'all hang out?
Probably once a week, twice a week.
Okay.
It would kind of go in spurts, depending on what she was doing. When we first met her, it was probably August or September last year. She would kind of come and go because she lived in Destin at the time. And it wasn't until she moved over here that I was here more, because she would stop by the house and different things.
Who, if suppose she were to have ran off, who do you think she would have gone to?
I mean, really, after everything came out with the situation with Biloxi and all that, my understanding was that she had kind of a long-term relationship with this girl in Biloxi.
Ginger,
yes. But like I said, the first day that I ever heard the name Ginger was that day that they were at the house and then all of this comes out. But supposedly she had been with Ginger for quite some time before that. I knew her to date guys that were in Destin right before she was with Cass, so I don't know.
do you recall like any guys' names or?
No, I mean, she told me, but and showed me pictures and whatever else. I mean, they were like big, buff, like military guys that I felt like were similar to. It's probably mine. Like her husband, or ex-husband, because that's the type that she always said that she liked. So it was kind of confusing because sometimes she would tell us that she was going to date guys, and then the next thing you know, she'd be with a girl. So we kind of didn't know like where she was at any given point. But like I said, I was surprised when the stuff came out with Ginger because she had never even mentioned her name to me at all.
Mm-hmm.
And she had talked about people she dated. It wasn't like odd for her to tell me about people she had dated.
Ashley is partially telling the truth here. Taylor was unfaithful to Cassandra. Shortly before Taylor disappeared, Cassandra discovered that she was also dating another woman in Biloxi, Mississippi. However, Taylor blocked the woman on all socials, and the two were working on rebuilding their trust. Though Ashley is going to continue to put down her friend in an attempt to make herself look better, let's just say that Taylor isn't the only person who was cheating on their partner.
So, the last couple of weeks, can you kind of describe what y'all's interactions have been like?
I'm mostly helping her. Like, the Friday before I met her, she said, I have a couple boxes. Can you help me move from the house that she had in Cantonment that she was renting a room from?
Mm-hmm. First I've heard of her house in Cantonment.
Okay, maybe not Cantonment, my Mile Road. I call it Cantonment. Do you know about that one? Okay. Ambra.
Yeah.
That's the person that lived there?
Mm-hmm. She called me and she's like, hey, you know, can you help me with a couple boxes? Hey, can I call you right back? Yep. All right, thanks, bye. She's like, hey, can you help me with a couple boxes? Well, I'm like, well, which truck do you need me to bring? Because I was going to bring one of the trucks from my office, and we have like a pickup truck and a box truck. And then she starts telling me what she needs, and I'm like, I'll just bring the box truck. Well, we ended up filling up the entire box truck.
Not a couple boxes.
Not a couple boxes, and it took all day long. And to the point that, like, I left the truck there for, well, even after all this happened, the truck was still there because she had not done at Cass's house.
Over on Berkeley.
Yeah. Because she hadn't finished with everything. And I was like, I'm going to kind of need it back because it's from house. We have to use it. You know, because we move equipment, pull tables and stuff with the truck. But those couple boxes turned into a lot of stuff.
Truckload.
Yeah. Literally, it's not a small box truck either. I mean, it was full to the brim. And in fact, we couldn't even get everything.
How many phones does Taylor have?
I only knew her to have one.
No, you're good. If you need to handle something, we're
No,
good.
it's fine.
I mean, I get calls obviously that I take, so
Well, I have my business phone transferred to my phone so I can take calls at night for service and stuff like that. So that's why. I only knew her to have one phone until that Friday. I saw a different phone, and the only reason I saw it is because, or noticed it, because it had the exact same case that her other phone did, but she had one plugged in, and then I saw her on the other one.
You know the number to that other phone? Or what kind of phone was it?
Whatever kind of phone she had, I don't.
Do you keep records in your phone of, do you like commonly delete numbers that call you?
No, it's whatever's there. I think iPhones keep like 30 days or whatever of whatever's available.
In the past 30 days or longer, if we're able to pull more, do you think that she could have possibly have contacted you from that other number?
It's possible.
Would you mind if we what's it called? Dump the phone?
Forensically examine your phone.
Yeah.
It basically just dumps the phone. But we can see the numbers that are calling. We don't look at anything. I don't know if that must be. There may be embarrassing pictures there. We're not worried about that.
Yeah, we're not concerned about that.
It's all professional. We're looking for one thing. We're trying to find Taylor. Is what we're trying to do.
Oh, yeah.
Ashley has just made one of the biggest mistakes of her life. As a previous crime scene investigator, you would think she'd know better, but she will continue to prove that she doesn't.
I know I did this with you over the phone, but just like I said, with official purpose. The last day that you saw her was what day?
On Friday.
Friday would be the 15th or the 8th? Or the 1st?
I guess the 8th. I don't know.
Probably.
Whatever. I think it's the 8th.
That's what I've been hearing the whole time.
The days run together. It would have been whatever Friday.
So the 8th of September, last day you saw her. And about what time?
The last time I saw her was about 4:30. Between 4 and
p.m.
Yeah.
And where was that at?
My house.
Who was there at that address when y'all returned?
I was. Zach was. But she didn't come inside.
That was pulled up in there. Okay, so let's start that day from the beginning. At approximately what time?
10:30.
So we'll say it about. And what happened at that time?
I went to Cass's house there, or Taylor's house, whatever.
Their
in
house in Berkeley?
Right.
Okay. You went there. Was Cass there?
Mhm.
Now, did Cass leave before y'all, or did y'all leave at the same time?
Cass was still there when we left.
Cass was still there when y'all left. You're sure she was still there when y'all pulled out?
I'm not 100%, I think so.
Okay. So y'all left there, and where did y'all go?
We went from Cass's house to my office. And
Cass's house. So Berkeley to office. What were the rest of your plans for the day? So where'd you go next?
We went back to my house, I believe.
What day is this, sorry? Oh,
This is the last day that she spent with.
oh, sorry.
So you went back to Raintree.
Right.
And what was your purpose for going back there?
To get any of the papers that I had for her and the money and stuff for her.
So the money was being kept at your house.
Right.
How long had the money been being kept there?
It was only there for a few days.
Where was it at before that?
Taylor had it.
Okay. So this whole thing about a safety deposit box of yours, you know anything about that?
Well, Taylor wanted to get a safety deposit box initially, but she didn't want her name or anything to be on anything that Jeff could find.
Sure.
So I was like, we'll just keep it and give it to you or whatever, because I don't know why she didn't keep it. She has a safe. of her
That's what's
own.
odd. Yeah. That's what's odd.
And I don't know if it had to do with she didn't want Cass involved with any. I don't know. It's hard to say what was going through her head, because I don't know why she was doing a lot of the stuff that she was doing.
So you had the money for, do you recall what day and how that conversation was brought up? Like, hey, 30 grand, keep it in your house. That's cool.
No, it was only 20, and then she had other cashier's checks.
So 20 grand and other cashier's checks.
Right.
Do you know how much money in cashier's checks it was?
Not really. I didn't really look at them.
So you don't know if it was like $500 cashier's checks or $50,000 cashier's checks?
My understanding was that they were like large amount checks,
What's large? Because
like probably 30 or 40,000.
that's large. That's more than
Really
what,
large.
that's what I make in a year, so that's pretty large. So let's go back. You were at the warehouse on Pace.
Mhm.
Y'all were there for about 30 minutes. Where'd y'all go after that?
Back to my house.
Back to your house. Do you recall what route you may have taken?
No. Probably Fairfield.
Same little backup?
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going there to get what?
The cash for her.
Okay. Did y'all end up getting that?
Yeah.
Ashley takes the next hour and a half to very, very slowly explain the full events of the day, complete with cheery tangents about what a good friend she is to Taylor, unprompted ramblings about getting a deck added to her house, and how drama-free and not like the other girls she is.
And I don't have a lot of female friends because shit like this, they're dramatic, and I don't want any part of it. I am not a shopper. I don't want to, go to the mall. I don't want to do any of that bullshit.
To sum up her timeline, after giving Taylor the money she owed her, Ashley took Taylor to ride horses at her family farm in Milton. After, the two went and got a drink. Taylor said she wanted to go think about things and called an Uber before leaving. Taylor's girlfriend Cassandra had a very different feeling about the day. According to her, the plan from the get-go was for Ashley to pick up Taylor, take her to the bank, and withdraw the $25,000 that Taylor needed for an upcoming court date. And despite Ashley's claims that the money was taken out the day Taylor disappeared, Cassandra disagrees.
I asked her how things were going. She sent me a text, like, I'll explain later. And I was like, well, did you take care of it? This was like around 11:30, I guess. And she was like, not yet, we're on our way there. So keep in mind, I had to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. Okay? I ended up getting there like around 10:10. And Ash pulled up to my house probably around like 9:50, 9:55. And at 11:30, they still hadn't made it to the bank. So that, to me, that was odd to me. Whenever Taylor wouldn't text me back, I texted Ash, and I was like, Ash, like, where are you guys at? Because I thought that they were just going to run to the bank. That's the only thing I knew of that day. So I was like, where is she? You know, like, I've been in my room painting all damn day. And she was like, well, you know, I had to run some errands. So I asked her if she wanted to come with me. And she was like, yeah, you know, I mean, that wasn't anything abnormal. Taylor would ride around with Ash, you know. I wouldn't say all the time, but, like, there were at least probably 3 times that I can think of where she maybe rode with Ash. Because Ash has to go into bars and collect the change out of, like, the pool machines, the pool table machines. So she'd just ride with her. They would talk about things and whatnot. So I guess Taylor knew that I was taking care of some things that day and, you know, like the board stuff that had to do with the shirts, grocery shopping. She knew I was going to come home and paint. So she probably figured it was no big deal to ride along with Ash. Well, Ash called me, and Ash was like, hey, we're up at my mom's house, which is up in Milton. They own a farm. Okay, I don't know if it's the same farm or if it's a different farm. I have no clue. But she was like, you know, Taylor's broke down and cried twice today. And I'm like, what is going on? She won't reply back to me. That's not like Taylor. And she was like, well, you know, she says that Jeff is trying to have her arrested. You know, Jeff wants to see her burn and not have her son. And she's just trying to think about things. And she was out riding a horse at the time. Be really curious because, I mean, I don't think anything bad of Ash, but, I mean, Ash was with her that day. I don't know if they were really up at the farm. I mean, I know they have horses. I really do. I mean, well, I don't really know. I've never seen horses. But Ash always talked about horses, and even her daughter Savannah talked about horses. So, and Taylor does ride horses. Taylor grew up riding horses. So she was like, she's out riding the horse right now. I'll tell her to call you when she gets off. Or no, she didn't say I'll tell her to call you. She goes, we'll be home in a little bit. So that was about, I think it was like 3:30 or so. Well, I texted Taylor a couple more times, no responses. Then about like 7:30, I texted Taylor and about 7. And I didn't have any response. And so I texted Ash. I was like, Ash, what is going on? You said you guys are going to be home. And Ash was like, what are you talking about? Like, she's not at your house. And I said, no, she's not. So Ash called me immediately. And Ash was like, Cash, she left my house like around 5:15-ish. She said that she was going to take an Uber, go get a drink. She needed to think about things. She said I offered her a ride, but she said she didn't want to ride. Ash lives like maybe 1.5 miles from my house.
With this breaking news, detectives bring Ashley in for another interrogation several days later.
Hi, how you been doing? Wow.
Did you have a good night?
I'm tired.
Tired? You sleep good?
I didn't sleep very much because I was actually supposed to fly out at 6 o'clock this morning, but I have a lot going on at the office, so.
Where did Laura go?
Well, Zach went ahead and went, but I'll probably have to go later. But we volunteer with Sheepdog Impact Assistance.
What's that?
It's a
Sheepdog, probably something with police.
well, it's a nonprofit that does things for injured first responders from any kind of military, and they're at NDC volunteering to do stuff with the Marine Corps Marathon.
Really?
It's safe to say that Ashley won't be hopping on any flights anytime soon, whether she knows it or not. Community service isn't exactly going to clear up the revelations detectives have to run by her.
Here's your phone. Same condition. If you want to look over it, make sure it's in the same condition it was when you left it.
It's a break.
Yeah. I agree, but So your black iPhone, my signature, we're turning back over on the 19th. Sign there. How you been doing? Yeah. Talked to Cass lately?
I haven't talked to her lately. I'll text her or message her every now and then. See, she's heard anything else that's going on, and she has an update or.
How's she doing?
She seems okay. It seems very like she'll say that she's really sad or she's been crying all day or she's frustrated. And
She kind of still don't know which way to go.
And I asked Zach if he had heard Taylor talk about any kind of like foot games or anything like that, and he said he hadn't. But it's like when Jeff was starting to ask me, what I knew about, Taylor and stuff, and was like as far as our nightlife and stuff, we didn't really go out together like that, because that circle was a different circle of people. Wow.
Once more, Ashley goes on a fun little tangent about how mysterious Taylor was. After several minutes, police decide to cut her off with something she absolutely doesn't expect.
Well, like I said, we've been looking into it. We've had to look into everyone, obviously. I'm sure you can imagine with the knowledge you do have of law enforcement. We got to look into everyone. So we've been doing it, and we've turned up some things that we don't really know what to think at this point.
Okay.
So we don't know who's involved with what, right? Like I said before, I don't know Jeff's involvement. Obviously, there's probably some bitter feelings over the money issue and the child and Drake and all. I'm sure, she loved Drake or loves Drake, but obviously Jeff has probably no intent on letting Taylor have that child, right?
At this point, I don't think she needs him right now.
Yeah. Well, when we were conducting our investigation, we've come across, like I said, several things. We don't know whether it's civil or something y'all had agreements on or whatever. So I was going to ask you about them if you don't mind, if you have some time. But with that, because we don't know the nature of it, I need to read you something.
Okay.
Cool? Okay. Try to breeze through this real quick. It turns out it's just civil issues, and that's not what we deal with. So before we ask you any questions, you must understand your rights. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say against you can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before he asks you any questions. You have the right to have a lawyer with you during questioning. You can afford a lawyer won't be appointed for you for questioning if you wish. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, you have the right to stop and answer any time. You understand that? I understand. If you want to read it, you're more welcome to.
I think y'all may be business partners in something. That's what he's asking.
Right.
I'm not sure.
You've just witnessed a person realize she's screwed in real time. You've also just witnessed perhaps the smoothest transition into reading someone their rights that I've ever seen. With Ashley's knowledge of the law, detectives try to frame the reason for reading her rights as business-related, not related to fraud and murder. But Ashley is in the business of both.
So, as I was saying, when we were doing our investigation, we've looked into everyone. By nature, we have to. We just got this also Miss Cassandra not long ago, a few days ago. I know she's my girlfriend, right? I'm sure she cares about Taylor, as do you, I'm sure. But we found some bank records that drew some questions. Can you tell me anything about you and Taylor and any sort of involvement with any businesses?
She needed to put like money and whatever, and she also wanted to do some of the stuff with my t-shirt business and stuff as well with her Takeo, and so we added her to my Purely Southern Willsburg account.
Is that a t-shirt business?
Mm-hmm.
How does that work with, I mean, what does that
do
entail?
we do like festivals and things like that, sort of like the gun shows and things like that she was going to, where she wanted to sell her clips and tactical things and stuff like that.
Okay. So, did y'all have like a business agreement?
Nothing like really formal.
So what was kind of the plan? She was to just kind of come to put her name on y'all's business or something
And
and
yeah,
sell
we were just
t-shirts?
well, we would just use that as just a umbrella for all of the tactical and the t-shirts and everything together.
Okay. Now, were you going to do like the ordering for her, or was she going to just kind of bring the stuff and do her own thing?
We haven't really worked it all out yet.
Okay.
Which day y'all added or opened the account?
The account's been open
Okay.
for several years. We added her before she went to North Carolina with Drake.
How long ago was that roughly? You remember?
Probably early August.
Okay. So y'all agreed to be, I guess, business partners. Who all's in on that business?
The only people on there are me, Zach, and Taylor.
And Zach was okay with all that? With this?
He doesn't really have anything to do with it.
Typical dad.
Yeah. He's just kind of on the account because he's married to you.
Right.
What was his feelings towards, I mean, did he know that she was getting involved?
No, but he's not involved. I mean, we just didn't, like, Taylor and I's business we didn't really discuss with Zach because
Yeah. Yeah, that's kind of what I was curious about. How he felt about you all going in and being business partners. So.
Ashley's husband, Zach, didn't know about Ashley and Taylor being business partners because, shocker, they weren't business partners. In addition to stowing the money for Taylor in one account, Ashley also added Taylor to her account with her husband in order to have more access to Ashley's funds. Though Ashley comes up with another excuse for why Zach didn't know. One that not only throws him under the bad husband bus, but runs over him and backs up again.
the relationship Zach and I have is
Be blunt.
Yeah, you could. Or,
well, he's only worked 3 days in the past 6 years, so like
Oh,
what I
really?
do business wise is not like up to him, I guess.
Does he not know what all goes on?
What do you, I mean, like,
Like with the business, your amusement business and this purely separate business.
I talked to him about it here and there or whatever, but he's not really, involved in anything. If I say, hey, can you come help me move the machine, he might do it, or he might say, I'm not a worker, I don't do
really?
machines.
So basically what we're trying to do also is I mean, my concern here is Drake, right? I mean, I'm sure you have a child, right? I can't imagine, my kid's not old enough to know, obviously, anything, but how these children who are old enough to know their parents would feel if the parent just took off.
Well, I was here for a couple hours and my daughter flipped out. She told everybody in the county.
Yeah, I mean, in a month. All right. I mean, how would your daughter feel if, and then not in the unknown, right? So one of my bigger concerns, not that I don't care about your feelings and with Taylor and all, or Cassandra's, but you have this child. So I kind of want to get him some sort of answers, right? And I don't really know where to go next. Do you have any ideas, anyone that we can go talk to?
I don't, those are the people that we've already talked to.
Anyone, has your mind changed at all? Do you feel any different? Have you thought about any other ways that this could have went down?
Not really. I don't know why she's so just irritated with that court date. You know, I don't.
No, we're talking about the court date for
This
with
whatever
Jeff.
Right, and thinking that he wanted to have her arrested and all that. I don't know.
Taylor actually had a very, very good reason to be irritated and scared about the impending court date, and Ashley knows exactly why that is. At this point, Taylor had already pushed the date where she had to produce $25,000 in cash back. According to Cassandra, there was a reason that Taylor was growing anxious about not getting it, because she had already tried to withdraw the money once.
So, Taylor, it seemed like she was getting paranoid towards Friday. Like, Wednesday and Thursday, she was, more so on Thursday, like while we were at Twin Peaks, she was talking about how she felt like something just wasn't right with Ashley. She wasn't sure if Ash had her money or not. Because Taylor had been trying to get the money out of Ash's safety deposit box, Taylor said, for like 4 or 5 days. And Ash kept making up excuses and everything. And then they were supposed to go on Thursday, Wednesday or Thursday, and Ash came and picked Taylor up. But Taylor said, was like, Cash, you know I'm not like the best at directions. Like I get turned around all the time. But I could tell Ash wasn't going in the right direction. And like she did it, Taylor said that she felt like she stalled enough to get to the bank when they were closed. So then I got pushed to the next day, Friday, okay? You know, like, I don't want to think this, but like I want to give you guys like whatever you guys need. I can be so wrong.
No,
But
I'd rather you be wrong and have a feeling or know something
I
to
don't
tell
want
us.
Ash to be mad at me though, because I like maybe accuse her or something.
Ashley doesn't even know anything.
Okay.
We're going to talk to Ashley. We're
Because
going to talk
I'm
to.
like thinking all this stuff too, and I'm like, Taylor didn't call me. We weren't on the phone. Like, I don't even know if it was Taylor texting me. Like, if you look at the text records, Taylor's always been so quick to reply back to me. If she knew I was worried, she would reply back. So, they were supposed to leave my house, like right whenever they pulled up, like whenever I pulled out. Why is 11:30? Were they not at the bank yet?
Well, that's a good question.
And then why did, like, I didn't think anything of Taylor running errands with her, but why would Taylor have waited so long in the day when she knew I was off and she said how excited she was to spend the day with me?
At that point in her interrogation, Cassandra is starting to put the pieces together. Taylor needed money. Ashley seemed like she didn't have it. Then, Taylor ended up missing. You don't need to be a private investigator to see where this is going.
Over the past year, do you know how many deposits you and Zach or Ashley would have made into the account?
We probably haven't made any. Taylor put a check in there, or we put a check in there for Taylor maybe 3 or 4 times. Small checks, and then I gave Taylor the cash for them, but it was mostly just she was wanting the cash and stuff like that. But I had given her previously when her she said she had some banking issues or frozen accounts or whatever, some cash, and she owed me cash back. So
How much cash did you give her?
probably 20,000 or something. Over a period of weeks.
Oh, okay. Not at one time.
No.
So how much money do you think she owed you back?
I don't know, I think the total probably was, I don't know, I have to look at it. Because I had been giving her cash, and she said, well, you know, when she gets her money or whatever, she would, you know, pay him back and put it in the account or whatever. And, it may be more than that, but I think she deposited a couple of her checks to that to pay me back. Maybe 3 or 4 total. But we hadn't, like I said, we hadn't really used the account until Taylor and I started discussing doing this or whatever.
So, you mentioned that you said that we deposited checks for her.
Like she would give them to me, and
Maybe I just don't know much about checks. That's before my time. So she
You wouldn't even get a check.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's all like I don't. That's all stuff that I heard used to happen. That's like with VHS and all. So she has a check given to her, made out to her, and she can give it to you to deposit.
yes, because we're all in the same account.
Okay.
I think she has to sign it, right?
I don't know if you have to sign. Like I don't sign mine. You just put them in.
Have you ever had to sign her name to a check
Mm-mm.
to deposit?
No.
But my wife will forge mine, babe, over there. Don't take the money.
I actually, most checks you don't have to.
You just put deposit only on there, I think.
You can put deposit only, or like when I deposit a lot of them, I just put them in. If it's in an account with your name on it, it just, because I think if you were cashing something is when, you know what I mean? Because then you'd be receiving the cash. But if it's going into a listed account with, your name, it's supposed to be your, whatever.
And she was having her accounts were frozen. So
Yeah, that's a while ago.
So y'all would deposit when all this was going down with the check stuff, or before that?
No, before that.
So her account was back active.
I guess at the time, I don't know.
Okay. But when y'all deposited the checks, and I'm assuming you had access to the funds, or y'all had access to the funds after. Do you know what bank she was having issues, or where these checks were coming from?
What do you mean, which checks were coming?
Like, were these paychecks that someone wrote to her, or were these like where she pulled money out of a bank in form of a?
She had one cashier's check, and then I think the others were like little paychecks that somebody had written to her.
Do you recall how much the cashier's check was for?
I think 30,000, 33, 34.
And she or you deposited that?
I deposited that. I actually deposited all of the checks for her.
Into?
Unless she deposited more than I know. Because she would just hand it to me and I go.
And that was into the Simply or
purely account.
Okay. Did she ever make withdrawals or expenses from that account?
That I don't think so, because most of it was paying me back for the money I had already given her.
Sure.
Not a convincing sure from the officer there, and for good reason. Not once did Ashley lend any money to Taylor. Unfortunately for Ashley, the detectives are well aware of that. And just like she did with Zach, she's about to throw Taylor under the bus to try and make herself look good.
Because she said that and this started way back in probably February, I don't know, that she was having, issues with her bank or whatever and trying to get money out of whatever she was doing or whatever. So usually I'd give her like 1,000 or 1,500 a week or so to keep. And
good Lord.
Well, so that she could, do what she needed to do and buy her products for her stuff and, keep up her.
Pretty fair. Well, she had no friends, but I don't know if you let me borrow $1,500.
Well, and that was for a week, but and honestly, it was probably very stupid because knowing what I know now, there's a good chance I would have never gotten, paid back for any of it because it turns out it really wasn't her. But I didn't know her to be anything but honest with me,
Sure.
So.
And you loaned her approximately $20,000 over the course of those. Okay.
It was probably 26 or 28. I don't really know. It wasn't. And she just said, once I get the money, I'll put it in there for you, whatever. And okay, that's fine. But to my knowledge, she was making it with her private investigator stuff, but she just was like, this money is getting tied up. Can you help me out? And
Does Zach know all that?
Probably not.
Did Jeff inquire about the funds at all whenever he reached out to you? About like these funds that she apparently had taken from or withdrawn from an account that he was on?
I think he said something about like, that she had to do that in the court or whatever, but I mean, he didn't really mention much of it at all.
Okay. I wanted to at some point go back over kind of your timeline again,
Okay.
if you didn't mind. And the day that she last went missing, can you kind of start with like that night before, if you remember? Yeah.
Can I check my phone really quick?
Sure. Do they have a problem with us bringing the phones in?
I'm not supposed to bring them in here.
Well, can I just walk out there and like check it, because I told everybody I'd be like to work, and so they're gonna be like, "Where are you?"
Yeah.
It shouldn't take much longer.
Yeah, we'll try to speed this up.
Well, I just didn't want anything to like, because they're probably gonna be like, "Where am I at?" And my collector's supposed to meet me in the house, so I was like, "Oh, I won't be down there long," so I didn't know.
Yeah, it shouldn't take very long.
It won't.
Gives her retelling of events. She sticks to the story she gave in her first interview. She picked up Taylor, hung out in the driveway there, went to Ashley's office, then drove around with Taylor to look at a case she was working on as a private detective. And finally, they went to the farm in Milton. Except police know that's not what happened at all. And now, it's time to turn up the heat.
Do you know how cell towers work and how phones communicate with cell towers? Okay. What happens is your phone,
I mean, I'm sure that.
it's still communicating with the tower, even if
yeah.
it's in this building.
Sure.
It's telling us, that way it knows if you get a call, it picks up the tower with a strength. Okay. And based off that, the tower can tell you what sector of the tower you're communicating with. I'm not an artist, so I'm going to try to
That's okay.
draw this the best that I can. Let's say like the tower's right in the middle here. And that tower covers that much area.
Right.
So most towers have three different sides on it. So it's going to equal into a pie like that. And it can tell you if you're on this sector, this sector, or this sector. And we have got all these things right here. I'll show you what it looks like. Are basically what I try to draw. Like right here at 9:05 in the morning,
Right.
your phone was communicating with this tower.
Gotcha.
And it was somewhere in this sector.
Mm-hmm.
Probably at your house.
Right.
This would apply to your house. Okay. When we started plotting all the phone calls that you and Taylor were making that day, there were some discrepancies in what you had told us.
Okay.
Okay. We know that you didn't go to Milton when you said you went to Milton.
We did go to Milton.
Not when you said you went there.
Oh, well, I don't know what.
You went that evening.
Oh, okay.
Around 7:30, 8 o'clock. Maybe you went to dinner out there or something.
We did go to dinner out there.
Who all went to dinner out there with you?
Me and Zach.
You and Zach. Okay. Where'd y'all eat at?
Maybe Pastor Bistro?
That ain't good. I don't even know where that's at. I have no reason to go to Santa Rosa County.
I don't go anywhere.
No, I stay out on by the Walmart there on Blue Angel, and I have no reason to leave that area. Okay, so there are some discrepancies, but we'll go over that all with you here in a minute. We're just trying to get everything out here. How often do you talk to this Kyle Britt guy?
Probably a couple times a day.
And when I say talk, text or voice.
Right.
Do you remember talking to him that day on the 8th?
Probably.
You know what y'all would have spoke about?
Probably school or something.
Do you know if he was at home that day?
I don't think he was. I don't know. I don't know. I think he was at his aunt's house.
He was his aunt.
I don't know.
Where does she stay? Now, who is Kyle's parents?
My aunt and uncle.
What's their names?
Karen and Britt.
Karen Britt.
Mm-hmm.
And what's his name?
Carl.
Karen and Carl. Okay. Now, where do they stay?
Jacksonville.
Do they have any property here in Florida?
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Florida because Jacksonville is Florida. Any property here in Escambia County?
Yeah.
Okay, where's that at?
That is off of Beulah Road too. Or no, off of.
Okay. Now, do you travel out there a lot to their property?
Not a whole lot.
Do you travel more to their property or more to your aunt's property in Milton?
My aunt's property in Milton.
Okay. When was the last time you think you went out to the property of Beulah? Or 297, whatever you call it?
Probably a week ago.
When Ashley claimed they were at a farm in Milton, phone records actually indicated that both she and Taylor were at a property outside of Cantonment, Florida, a 40-minute drive away. There, her family owned another farm, which is concerning when you consider what Cassandra disclosed in her interrogation.
They used to always joke around and talk about, like, if they had to get rid of a body, they'd go to a hog farm or something, you know? And I thought that it was weird, but, like, people make comments like that, you know? Like, people just talk like that sometimes. I don't, but the people do. But even whenever I text Taylor or tried to call her, she didn't answer. And then I text Ash. Ash called me. And Ash said that she was out riding a horse. I don't have any evidence of her riding a horse. You would have thought Taylor either would have had her phone on her or Taylor would have called me when she got off the horse. She never did.
Do you know of any other farms? You know where any pigs might be?
Well, when Taylor had to turn in her she had to give her address to her ex-husband, and she didn't want to, so she gave him the address of a pig farm that's somewhere a little north of here, because she knew he would like Google it.
Can you get the address?
I'd have to Google it. I don't know of any pig farms.
So she just Googled it and gave him some bullshit address? Or it was some address of someone she knew?
I don't know. She said it was a pig farm. She was like, I gave him the address of a pig farm.
If you don't want.
So what we did is we had the ability to plot all your phone calls for that day on where you were. Taylor's. And this, it all starts at 9:05, okay? So 9:05, you're probably at home.
Mm-hmm.
8:15, you're probably at home. 9:05. 9:13. 9:15. And it's the same tower, just, well, it's a different tower because it's on the south side of your house. But what it does is there's 3 towers, and your phone will communicate with the one that's got the best signal.
Right.
And that's how it knows. That's how you always know to drop a call. It looks like you're moving here. This may have been, I don't know where you may have been going, but it was 9:51. You know about what time y'all went over to your office after you picked her up?
Really?
10:13. You know where y'all may have been going. You know what's about what time you picked her up? Let me ask you that. That may be easier.
Probably. I thought it was about 10:30, but I could be wrong.
Then, for some reason, it didn't capture any more towers from 10:30 to 12:10. Okay. Now, at 12:10, you are in here.
Mhm.
We know that your aunt and uncle and Kyle own the farm there on Britt Road.
Right.
And it's showing that you're probably near that farm, or if not, at that farm. And you're there when this is the time when you're telling us that you're probably in Milton or headed towards Milton, because it's 12:10 in the afternoon.
We were still on the Beulah side then.
Yeah, but if you're at that Tom Thumb, it's going to be covering down here, not up here. The Tom Thumb is not covered by this tower. Okay. 12:10, 12:22, 12:46. You're still covering the farm. 12:47, 13:01. Or sorry, 13:11, which is 1:11.
You're calling, who has been calling?
There's no telling. Like I get so many calls each day.
You're out here for quite a while. Then you leave around at least at 13:44. Your phone's not communicating with the part of the tower that covers the road. What were y'all doing out there at this farm? We know y'all were there.
We picked up some stuff that Taylor had there
What was there?
that she had stored. Some kind of lockbox that she had.
Why would you not tell us that originally?
Because she asked me not to tell anyone ever.
It's not going to fly.
I gotcha.
Ashley does not get the detective, because as he continues to ask her questions, she continues to lie.
When you leave there, that's why it was important. When y'all leave there, where do y'all go?
I don't really remember. I mean, like I said, it wasn't like we were just really kind of riding around.
What was going through your mind at that time?
What do you mean?
What were you thinking about?
Nothing really. No. It was just kind of a regular day.
Regular day?
I mean, that.
If it's so regular, why wouldn't you tell us about this? Even if you didn't want you to tell us about it, we're working a missing person case where your friend for over a year is missing.
I honestly didn't think it was very important to this at all.
Why was the rest of the day important though?
I mean, really, that whole day was not. I mean, like us going to my office and any of that.
I think something happened and you're trying to forget about it personally. Okay, and that's fine. That's fine.
Here's the thing.
Because
You tell us that y'all went out to Milton and Red Horses.
Right.
Honestly, did that happen?
Yes, it did.
So you'll have cell tower hits.
There
out
should
in
be cell
Milton.
tower hits in Milton at some point in that day.
Not when you're having dinner with Zach,
No,
but after you left Beulah.
there should be.
there's
Unless I
I'm
know
telling you
how
now,
to-
there's none.
Well,
Not
unless
till
I
you go out
didn't
there
have
with
a
Zach.
phone call.
Now,
Because,
you have phone calls all day because here's your phone
oh,
record.
sure.
160 pages worth.
Oh, I understand.
All right, so you go back out there. When you say you're not sure if you went back out, probably didn't. You actually did go back out there at 2:45, and you're out there for quite a while again.
So really, in essence, you spent, it seems like at least a large portion of the majority of your day out here.
It really wasn't, though. I mean, we were
Several hours.
here and
You're still there. And you're still there. And you're still
And
there.
look,
at the same
like,
time.
Yeah, there's two different phone calls.
Mm.
There's two different calls.
Gotcha.
so, like Chad said, I feel there's a reason you don't want to tell us this, but the thing is, I know you're not a bad person, right? This is a person, you're someone who tells me that if your friend goes in the hospital, when you're going on a vacation, right, to probably one of the funnest cities in the southeast region. Would you agree?
Oh, sure.
Right? Awesome. So you're going to this place that's going to be a blast with friends that are going to be fun to be around,
Oh, sure.
right? And then you have one of your friends who goes to the hospital. Instead of you going out with other people who continue to go on and have fun, am I right,
Right.
Cassandra and Taylor? You say, you know what? My friend's more important. I'm going to the hospital with my friend.
Right.
right? Not only did you do that, you told me that you went back to Pensacola, took care of business that you had no choice but to take care of. And instead of going on about your merry way, you drove back over here, back over to New Orleans to see your friend, to check on your friend. I can tell you now, I have probably very few, if any, friends that I would do that for.
Right.
Which tells me that you're probably a nicer person than I am, right?
After all of Ashley's lying, it's time for Mr. Good Cop to do his. After breaking down the inconsistencies in her story, of which there are many more to come, a little ego stroking can do wonders to get a suspect to crack. But will Ashley?
So, again, we're talking about a little baby boy who's missing his mom, and we need to let him know what happened.
I don't know what happened to her.
Ask this. Why did you go back out to that farm on Brent Road the next morning?
Maybe to feed horses? I don't know.
Is that something you normally do? Because we don't find you going back out there too many times.
No, it just depends on what they have going on.
You went to the Tatum's wedding, right?
Yes.
You and Zach.
Right.
And where was that at?
That was in Robertsville.
About what time was the wedding?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it was in the afternoon.
Did y'all stay for both the ceremony and a little bit for the reception?
Zach stayed the whole time. I didn't.
Do you know about what time you left?
I don't know either. But it probably wasn't late.
When you're at the wedding,
Mhm.
This is the tower your phone was bouncing off of,
Mhm.
or was communicating with.
Mhm.
Now, we did the same thing for Taylor's phone.
Mhm.
Okay. This is the day of her disappearance.
Right.
She's either at your house or probably at her house at 9/11.
Right.
Because Cassandra said she didn't leave until closer to 10 o'clock. She thought. Okay. So she had 2 phone calls at around 9/11. 9:13, she's still at the same house. Probably 9:48, she's at the same area. 10:10, same tower, same sector of the tower.
Right.
Okay. Could be your house or her house.
Right.
Probably her house. Because she calls either FHP or FDLE is who this number comes back to.
Okay.
It's a state phone. Do you remember making a phone call to one of them while you all were together?
No.
All right. So the next morning, her phone, this is the day after she was disappeared.
Right.
At 2017,
Mhm.
that's 8/17, the first phone call. Her phone is communicating with the tower that covers your house.
Okay.
Not her house, your house. Again, same tower,
Right.
same place. 8:20, all these are incoming calls, they're not outgoing calls.
Right.
Same tower covering your house.
Right.
9/11, her phone's obviously moving because it's over here off a 9 mile in the interstate somewhere,
Mhm.
somewhere in that area. Okay. Still moving. 7:53.
Mhm.
17:53. So time goes backwards. Anyways, it arrives back at your house later on in the evening.
Right.
Your phone and her phone is communicating off the same tower,
Mhm.
8 minutes apart. Why do you have her phone, or why is she with you?
She wasn't with me, and I was unaware that I had her phone.
How did you get her phone?
I don't know that I have her phone. I mean, it could have been in the stuff that she had in the vehicle, but
Here's the problem with that. You say you got a text message from her the evening of the 8th saying, hey, I'm okay, I just got to get away and get my head clear.
Mhm.
That's not possible.
I think that you're scared. There's no need to be. Right? If something happened, we're going to figure out. Would you rather us figure out what happened with you saying, I don't know, and then continuing with these statements that are inconsistent? Would you rather that, or would you rather come forward and say, look, an accident happened, or this over here, this guy pushed this on
Look at
me?
me for a second. Don't cross your legs and look at me for a second. don't let us tell your story. Because this is gonna tell us what happened. Don't let us tell something that may not be true. Tell us what happened.
I think at this point I need an attorney because it seems to be that y'all think that I did something to her.
Okay. I respect that. Sit tight and we'll go from there, okay?
Can I use my phone?
Yeah, hold on just a second, okay?
This. Absolutely every piece of evidence they have points to Ashley. After leaving her in the room for well over an hour, they return with news she isn't going to be thrilled to hear.
So here's the deal. We are taking your phones, your vehicles, and we just conducted a search warrant on your house. Okay?
Ashley swiftly left the station with her mom, but without her phone, her husband called the police department to see if she was there.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a hold of her all morning, but I can't get her.
Yeah, we have her phone. We have her phone.
Okay.
That's
Is she just not telling me something?
yes. I 100% believe that, Zach. I think she has something to do with Taylor's disappearance.
Are you serious?
I do. I'm serious as a heart attack. And I have no reason to bullshit you. So, we think, actually, where's your truck? Because we think she actually used that.
My truck's sent up in tires, ain't getting tires. My tires wore out on it, and it's up there getting tires put on it.
Which one is that at? The one there by the
9 Mile Road?
9 Mile Road? Okay.
Yeah.
Officers know they have to rush to get the used tires from the truck, which they suspect will match tire marks at the scene of the crime, which by the time they received this call, they had found. 10 minutes after Ashley was permitted to leave the station, a team acting on the warrant at Ashley's family farm uncovered skeletal remains wrapped in a hammock beneath freshly poured concrete. Taylor had been shot in the back of the head. Likely, this was a surprise attack from behind by someone that she thought was her friend. During their investigation, detectives quickly came to realize that all the money Taylor had given to Ashley for safekeeping had already been spent. But what exactly did Ashley spend her money on? Or, the more accurate question is, who did she spend it on? The answer? Brandon, a bar owner by day and Ashley's secret lover by night. Ashley not only bought Brandon a brand new phone, but revealed that she had bought him a $30,000 boat at trial. It's likely that at least part of the money she stole from Taylor went towards funding some fun in her affair. As if killing her friend in cold blood wasn't enough, Ashley also was tried for an additional crime. It was discovered that she had been scamming a business that she operated jukeboxes for. Over several months, she had skimmed thousands of dollars off of their profits. When confronted, instead of facing the music for her financial crime, she burnt down her own warehouse, putting arson onto her long list of charges. For Taylor's murder, Ashley was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole for 25 years.